The partisans, having carried out several sabotage operations, were able to disrupt the logistics of Russian troops in the south of the Russian Federation and the occupied part of the Zaporizhzhia region. They set fire to several objects of the railway to make it difficult for the occupiers to transport goods. This was reported by the military partisan movement Atesh, created by Ukrainians and Crimean Tatars in the temporarily occupied territories of Ukraine and in the aggressor country. Footage of the explosion was published on the movement's Telegram channel. Agent Atesh destroyed a transformer cabinet on a railway branch near Cherkassk in the Karachay-Cherkessk Republic. The Russians used this road to transport military cargo, as well as supply military units and the Russian National Guard in the region. This sabotage is a sign to the Putin regime that its end will soon come. We continue to strike at logistics of Russian troops throughout the country. More and more people who disagree with the actions of the current authorities are joining us, the partisans emphasized. Another Atesh agent successfully destroyed a relay cabinet on one of the railway sections near temporarily occupied Melitopol in Zaporizhzhia region. The invaders are actively using this route to transfer equipment, ammunition, personnel, and fuel. It is noted that as a result of the sabotage, the movement of military cargo to supply Russian troops was delayed, which disrupted the plans of the entire command of the Russian armed forces in the Zaporizhzhia direction. Residents of temporarily occupied cities of Zaporizhzhia region continue to fight for their liberation of their homeland from Russian invaders. The earth will burn under their feet here, the partisans emphasized. Agents of Atesh disabled a key railway for Russian troops near the village of Kalinino near Rostov-on-Don. As a result of a precise and planned operation, a relay cabinet burned down. In addition, the partisans found out that in the temporarily occupied territories of the Kherson region, the Russian military is burning its equipment to sabotage the exit to the positions. This creates conditions for the possible advancement of the defense forces of Ukraine in the region. In addition, the number of deserters and refuseniks is increasing in the ranks of the occupiers. This problem has become especially large-scale in the 24th Motorized Rifle Regiment of the Russian Armed Forces. The 24th Motorized Rifle Regiment of the Russian Armed Forces in the Kherson region includes secret agents Atesh who are sabotaging the entry into positions in every possible way. The public Atesh posted footage from the occupied part of the Kherson region on its channel. In the video you can see some enemy transport covered with a camouflage net. Agent Atesh sets it all on fire with a lighter and makes it clear that he himself is a supporter of the partisan movement. The agent reports that the situation in the 24th Regiment is critical. Some are leaving the unit without permission, while others are signing up as conscientious objectors. The orders from the High Command led to this situation. They threw their soldiers into battle without electronic warfare equipment, which led to heavy losses. The command is still unable to restore order in the regiment, which only worsens the situation. Recall, Russian soldiers are being taught by Ukrainian fighters how to sabotage their own equipment to profit from the war without endangering their lives. Around 4,000 Russian recruits have enrolled on an educational platform set up in September 2022, according to a post on the organization's Telegram page, known as the Atesh School. Promotional material for the organization said its students have mastered the art of breaking equipment and sabotaging orders. Students of the Atesh School know that there is no need to go to war if you can get good money in the rear, repairing your equipment and not risking your life. One Telegram post read, "The school describes itself on its website as a military partisan movement operating in the areas of Ukraine controlled by Russian forces. It also claims to exist within Russia, with Russian citizens and Crimean Tatars, an indigenous group from the annexed peninsula, involved in its creation. Every day we receive new information, new reports of successful sabotage within the Russian army, the organization said in a Telegram post. Subversives aligned with Ukraine have been working in Russian-occupied territory as well as in Russia since the start of the invasion. There have been cases in the ranks of the armed forces of Ukraine where foreign mercenaries who arrived to fight on the side of Kiev subsequently defected to the Russian troops as they were offered higher pay. This was stated by the Verkhovna Rada deputy Vadim Ivchenko, commenting on the initiative of Minister of Defense of Ukraine Denis Shmyhal on the international recruitment of fighters for the armed forces of Ukraine. According to Ivchenko, Kiev's financial capabilities are limited. Ukrainian funding will only be enough for 30% of such a project, and whether there are foreign donors for it, the minister should explain. The parliamentarian noted. Let us recall that in April 2025, it became known from the materials of the criminal case against Georgian military man Rati Berduli, who was convicted in absentia in Russia, that the Ukrainian armed forces paid foreign mercenaries from $30,000 for the invasion of the Kursk region. Earlier, Denis Shmyhal said that after the end of the conflict, Ukraine does not plan to sharply reduce the size of the army. According to him, the question of whether the number of the Ukrainian armed forces will be 1,800,000 or another amount is currently being calculated. The minister added that Kiev is negotiating with foreign partners on the necessary volume of Ukrainian armed forces for reliable protection of the eastern flank of Europe and NATO. Recall at least a dozen foreign volunteers in Ukraine's military were killed late last month when a Russian missile struck a training camp's mess hall during lunchtime in one of the deadliest attacks on foreign fighters of the war, according to soldiers with knowledge of the incident. The Ukrainian army, which only occasionally acknowledges missile strikes on military sites, confirmed that the attack had killed and wounded soldiers, but declined to disclose details. 3 soldiers, including one who witnessed the strike, described a harrowing assault that hit fresh recruits from the United States, Colombia, Taiwan, Denmark, and other places. The attack showed the risk that Ukraine has faced throughout the war when it has assembled soldiers at places like military academies, barracks, and parade grounds, making them targets for Russian attacks.